Well, guys, tomorrow's gonna be Freedom Day, but let's be honest, it's what, the 5th Freedom Day after 101 weeks of 3 weeks to flatten the curve at this point. Obviously, this to me makes it a restrictions bonfire, literally in name only, much like the Tories are Tories in name only. Now, obviously, I support any and all restrictions being lifted, but this is nowhere near enough in my mind. In fact, it's nowhere near enough by bloody far. As I've said multiple times, it all needs to be gone, and gone literally for good, outlawed from me and never brought back in any of that. This, I say, is especially true when you consider that the narrative is literally dead as a doorknob at this point. The public are completely finished with it, I would say. This is part of why I said goodbye to the narrative the other day, because while they may not give up on it, the public are through with listening to them in large enough numbers that they're not going to go back to how it was before. Obviously, it doesn't mean they ain't gonna try or anything like that, but I'm betting it ain't gonna bloody work again, that's for sure. Now, all of you likely know by now about the apparent end to the legal requirement to self-isolate and all of that, and how they're gonna advise you to isolate, but obviously advice ain't the law and literally never has been. Of course, with that end in there, it also ends government support for it, which I also 100% support. As you likely know, we've wasted far too much money that's going to be borrowed against our children's future as it is. This also means on top of that the laws letting cancel shut down businesses, otherwise known as lockdown regulations, are going to be removed and replaced with the pre-existing public health powers like they do with the flu and shit. Something obviously that should have been the case all along if you ask me, but then again I'm preaching to the choir there. Now, on top of that, contact tracing and free testing's all going to be ending from like the 1st of April, which is obviously good, but really it should be ended now and banned from ever being put back in place. This, of course, ain't going to happen because he's reserved the right to scale up the testing again back to how it bloody was before. And in fact, I would actually go as far as saying that people should be criminally investigated for wanking 15 billion a year on this sort of shit. And yes, that 15 billion there is just on the testing itself. Apparently the rest of it's another 15 or 20 billion, and that's why the test and trace nonsense cost us like 40. All of this there means that people should be getting investigated for how the bloody hell they managed to wank so much money down the toilet in such a short space of time. Shit, didn't we spend more in like a year than we literally did throughout the entirety of World War II? Now, on top of all of this, we're apparently also being told that all temporary provisions of the Coronavirus Act, which enforces legal restrictions on the public, is going to end from the 24th of March, so the date they were supposed to by when they're going to vote on it again. Obviously, this is not really that good because Boris Johnson refused to rule out bringing it all back in again, so like I said, it ain't bloody Freedom Day, is it? Now though, let's get on with the bit that has seen a limited amount of change, and that is the travel rules themselves. Now yes, while we do have some travel rules, there is actually no block on people going on holiday at all. Yes, there are hoops and more if you're unjabbed and all of this, but even the unjabbed can go on holiday and literally have been throughout. I myself personally know of plenty of people who have done it and even ignored their testing nonsense when doing it, but travel is not free like it bloody should be, so I do get people's point. The real issue here, though, is the fact that the government and media, alongside making it a pain in the arse to go on holiday, have made out like the unjabbed couldn't go on holiday at all, when, as per the government's own travel rules, they can, but it's just literally a pain in the arsehole, like I said. Of course, this lie was pushed to increase uptake of the jab, like most of the absolute bullshit they have come out with in this past year or so. Yes, some countries do demand the jab before entry, and we obviously can't help that, but the government has not stopped the unjabbed from travelling, even if they have made it harder to do so, and actually at times made out like they couldn't travel, as I said. Now, with these changing rules, apparently the unjabbed are still meant to take part in their testing nonsense, while all travellers are also expected to fill out passenger locator forms whether they're jabbed or not. So, once again, I sit here saying this is obviously not freedom in any sense of the bloody word, is it? Up next, we do actually have something that is kinda good though, and it's the hotel quarantine apparently going from next month, but I'll believe it when I see it, and once again it should be fucking gone from now. Oh, and following up on that, we've also got face masks that are going to be optional, which should be outright bloody banned if you ask me. For me, leaving it up to businesses is a bit of a dumb move, but I've got to say, any business mentioning them on their doors or anything like that won't be getting any money out of me. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yep, another shit point is the hospital trust still limiting visitors since these trusts can actually decide it for themselves. But I guess that's okay, since people can now blame the hospital directly for stopping them seeing their sick relatives. We can't blame Boris anymore for that one. I hope these hospitals are ready to receive a shit ton of abuse. It's gotta be bloody said there. Now, moving on from that, we've also got the fact that the jabs are going to continue, but let's be honest, that was never in any doubt, was it? They're hardly going to bloody stop doing that. Also, we've got the government saying it no longer recommends jab passports, but left them open for businesses to use. In fact, this is something we already knew they was gonna do. Obviously, I'm gonna sit here saying that these need to be outright banned, literally forever, and anyone who tried to push it through should actually be booted out of office and arrested for being a tosspot. This is something you all know and have known for a bloody long time, so I'm not going to hash over it too much because we're against them and literally always have been. So with that said, let's move on and see what other bollocks they've actually got in this, because it is just literally that. Like I said, it's not freedom in the bloody slightest. Yes, it's a bit better and all of that, but when the fuck do we sit there settling for a bit better? It should be how it was in 2019, as you all bloody know. Here we've got virtual courts continuing, which I've got to say I don't much trust and surely does not give everyone equal justice, but I don't know for sure. Either way, I don't bloody like it, it's got to be said. Now, of course, some of the worst things about all of this is actually written here in the Telegraph because they've summed up the shit that these tosspots want to keep permanently, which, like I said, is bloody dangerous. It says coroners will also be given the permanent power to carry out inquests without a jury where COVID is suspected as a cause of death. Why the fucking hell do you need that if we're living with it like the flu? That makes absolutely no bloody sense at all and should have people's alarm bells ringing. It goes on, in all, 40 temporary non-devolved powers were made under coronavirus laws, of which half have already expired, it says. Of the 20 remaining, 4 cover the inquests and virtual court hearing provisions, and the other 16 will expire at midnight on the 24th of March. The 4 they're keeping include the emergency registration of healthcare and social working staff, funding of employer liabilities for statutory sick pay, powers in relation to the transportation, storage and disposal of dead bodies, tenants' protections from evictions, and the relaxing of rules covering medical certificates for cremations. Now, why they need to keep them permanently, obviously I have no bloody idea, but it's something we need to have removed because, like I said, it all needs to be gone. This shows that one of the battles might be over, but the war is certainly not won on the lunacy we've been living through. It can easily come back, like I said. Now, obviously, I'm sitting here wondering why they need to keep most, if not all, of those 4 that they've just mentioned there. What is the fucking reason for it, I've got to ask? Surely you brought them in during an emergency situation and all of this like they claimed, but what the fuck is the reason for keeping them in there? The transportation, storage of dead bodies and all of that's got fuck all to do with general life. Why does that need to be in the law in the first place? And I guess exactly the same can be said for the rules covering medical certificates for cremations, because why the fuck would you need to keep that? Didn't they say they were in because of the emergency and all of this and the number of bodies that there might be, which, let's be honest, there bloody never was. So, like I've said many times, the battle is over, but the war is certainly not won at this point. Until literally every remnant of this past 2 years and the bullshit that's gone with it is gone, it's never gonna be over, I've gotta say. And also, as I said at the beginning of this video, it's certainly not Freedom Day tomorrow or any of that. It's freedom in name only and nothing more. Yes, it's better than other places and all of this, but bollocks the better, we should be where we was.